Welcome back to the Crypto's Key Conversation. We're going to start with this video from Nobody Special. It does a great job of kind of condensing what's been going on with this whole FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried stuff. It says, I could talk about the FTX Cloud for hours on end, but there's no time. Here's the whole awful, glorious mess crammed into 99 seconds. Let's take a quick listen into this.
This is Sam Bankman-Fried. People call him SBF. He's the founder of FTX. He also controlled a crypto hedge fund called Alameda Research, but that's all gone now. He wants you to think he's this sweet guy. He even brought in a famous YouTuber who called him the most generous man in the world. Yep, that happened. Truth is, Sam Bankman-Fried is a liar and a crook. His personal crypto FTX token was basically a Ponzi scheme hidden below layers of Moonbro jargon. He even went on Bloomberg's podcast and bragged about it. Yep, that happened. He used his Ponzi token as collateral to borrow billions of real dollars that he couldn't pay back. He then used those real dollars to build an empire out of dying companies like Voyager and BlockFi. This led Jim Cramer to call him the new JP Morgan. That's weird. It's not like Jim Cramer to promote a billionaire con artist. SBF sold people cryptos like Bitcoin, or so they thought. What they really bought from SBF was an IOU. But as long as everyone didn't cash in their IOU at the same time, the scheme worked. Until it didn't. This other a-hole who hates SBF came along and engineered a bank run with some passive-aggressive tweets. It worked. SBF didn't have enough money to repay everyone at once, and now his customers have lost everything. You'll be happy to know that this is exactly how every bank in the world operates. So where did all the money go? He misappropriated $4 billion trying to save his failing hedge fund. Whoops, that's a felony. He spent $21 million on Super Bowl commercials, $5 million for the big guy, $40 million in campaign donations. I wonder what he wanted in return. And everyone who's pointing at this story and saying,
this is exactly why we need to regulate crypto.
Remember that SBF stole billions. That's already a crime. And he spent a lot of it on bribing politicians. Also a crime, in order to create a crypto monopoly for himself. Government regulations don't protect the customers. They protect the crooks. That's exactly what SBF was trying to do.
I mean, damn, he did a great job. Nobody Special, shout out to this. That was awesome. Great 99 seconds there. And this is from Sam Bankman-Fried. It says, hi all. Today I filed FTX US, and Alameda for voluntary Chapter 11 proceedings in the US. So bankruptcy. It says, I'm really sorry again that we ended up here. Hopefully things can find a way to recover. Hopefully this can bring some amount of transparency, trust, and governance to them. Ultimately, hopefully it can be better for customers. This doesn't necessarily have to mean the end for the companies or their ability to provide value and funds to their customers chiefly, and can be consistent with other routes. Ultimately, I'm optimistic that Mr. Ray and others can help provide whatever is best. Let me move my mic a little closer. He continues and says, I'm going to work on giving clarity on where things are in terms of user recovery as soon as possible. I'm piecing together all the details, but I was shocked to see things unravel the way they did earlier this week. I will soon write up a more complete post in a play-by-play, but I want to make sure that I get it right when I do. Jungle Eek says, F you and your high all BS. I mean, really, look at this right here. This is from Watcher Guru. Just in, Miami Heat have terminated its partnership with FTX and are seeking a new naming rights partner for the arena. I mean, stuff is happening. Look at this. We're going to take a listen into this from Crypto Law. This John Deaton's Crypto Law. It says today laid out for this is with Payne, Charles Payne, Fox Business House. Sam Bankman-Fried's tentacles go deep into Congress and the SEC. So this is what we're talking about, how Chairman Gensler and, Sam Bankman-Fried and, all the lobbying and the donations to these politicians to fulfill their specific agenda when it comes to crashing markets, monopolization, free passes and stuff. Let's take a listen in.
Market seems to have found its footing, at least for now. The world of crypto exchanges are in meltdown mode and now complete with finger pointing and blame game. But what happens with the real victims? Joining me now, a Crypto Law founder, John Deaton. And John, smoke hasn't cleared yet, but FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, this debacle, and many are already saying that there were obviously red flags out there. And my question to you is, if there were red flags, how come no one said anything? No one sounded the alarm?
Well, first of all, not only were they red flags, but you had this guy, Sam Bankman-Fried, meeting with the Treasury, the chairman of the CFTC, meeting with Gary Gensler himself. And rumor has it that they were close to a deal giving FTX a regulatory advantage or monopoly. And so we have to ask ourselves, last time you and I spoke, Charles, we were talking about the house of cards crashing down when it related to Celsius and BlockFi and Voyager. Well, the granddaddy deck of cards is now crashing down, and the contagion we're not going to figure it out probably for several weeks.
You know, you bring up a great point. I am highly disturbed by the political influence that Sam Bankman-Fried had. He's the #2 donor to President Biden's campaign. I've seen photos of him and Maxine Waters, and he was in the thick of it, right? CFTC, crafting this new crypto bill. Again, this stinks to high heaven, my man, because if he was in a position to have this sort of influence, some people wonder if people looked away on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. $31 million was spent in the last year or two just by him lobbying D.C. Congressman Jim Hines out of Connecticut commented, boy, Sam Bankman-Fried spent a lot of time on Capitol Hill. He was pushing for this regulation. And what's really scary, Charles, is that we have senators who are pushing the bill that Sam Bankman-Fried helped write, and that bill wouldn't stop or prevent the collapse of the FTX itself.
Right.
It is absolutely good.
Market seems to have found its footing, at least for.
I mean, things are kind of crazy, man. I mean, really seeing how, all these behind closed door meetings and, these secret meetings and these secret deals. I mean, as an XRP community member, I mean, this isn't anything new to us, but it's just like, wow, man, it's crazy how deep that this actually goes. And the thing that comes to my mind the most is like, how much will we really know? How much of the truth will we really know? A lot of this is a lot of superficial stuff. Like, we don't really know details, exact times and everything. And I know as time goes on and, and if investigations actually happen, we're going to get more information. But I'm curious to know, like, how much information are we really going to know about everything? We're going to continue on, so we got some more stuff to cover. This is from John Deaton. Says, I have a serious question. Why hasn't Sam Bankman-Fried been arrested by now? I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have been thinking that. This is from Digital Asset Investor. Says the SEC involvement in ETHgate was dirty. This FTX thing is worse. Gary Gensler is right in the middle of it, but none of this matters if we have a Congress that tweets about their anger and once again lets the corruption go. And he at Tom Emmer, Patrick McHenry. And this is funny. Fred Rispoli goes, please issue a correction to the above. It's not just anger tweets. And he's talking about how Tom Emmer and the like have also sent out some very sternly worded letters, the sternest, in fact. And then Digital Asset Investor says, I stand corrected. I mean, we need action, man. Words. I mean, we've been talking about Hester Pearson, her words, and just people, saying this and that. We heard from Tom Emmer, a new day's coming. I'm wondering what's going to happen. I mean, maybe they're, laying down, getting their ducks in a row, laying down an unpenetrable, offense, to this corruption within our government. We'll see. Just going to be a waiting game. This is from Stefan Huber. It says, bingo, found a memorandum of the SEC in which it is recorded what the meeting of the SEC with Sam Bankman-Fried was about, the risk and naturally non-action relief for Gary for FTX, the best investor protection agency in the whole world by far. So if you come out here, it says, on March 23rd, 2022, members of the staff of Chair Gensler met with the staff of IEX and FTX to discuss custody of digital asset securities by special purpose brokers dealers, including the unique risks associated with custody of digital asset securities and the conditional non-action relief discussed in the statement. I mean, just more and more stuff has been piling on. I mean, they're pulling out even more stuff right here. And I highly recommend you come to these tweet threads. I mean, there's a lot of great information in there. Speaking of, Eleanor Terrace responding to Mr. Well here, where it says, breaking SEC chair, old boss at MIT, is the father of Caroline Ellison, who is the CEO or the co-CEO of Alameda Research. So they're talking about like how things are actually linked. They're connecting the dots and getting the overall picture of how corrupt this thing is. Eleanor Terrace says, I have a feeling that the SEC conflicts of interest that Charles Gasparino and I have been reporting on and that no other media outlet would touch will start to matter a whole lot more now. 100% agree with Ellie here. I mean, absolutely. This is from Riz XRP. This was Tony Edward from Thinking Crypto and Ben Armstrong from BitBoy Crypto. So a minute 28 segment talking about help bring corruption to an end. This is a great little interview that they had. I highly recommend you check out Thinking Crypto's podcast interview with Ben Armstrong. Let's listen in.
What this means from here for Gary Gensler is we need the same kind of public outcry. And I can tell you, I'm working on some stuff with some reporters on Gary Gensler to where he's going to be held accountable. And when this happens, look, it's just as simple as yesterday I put out a tweet like, let's put something organized against Gary Gensler. And all of a sudden, like all these people are messaging me like, let's do this. There is going to be a movement. Gary Gensler is next on the list. Sam Bankman-Fried was number 1 on my hit list. We're still working on stuff with him. It's not over yet with SBF. So this Gary Gensler stuff can't get 100% of my attention yet, but I'm coming after him. I'm coming after Gary Gensler. This man is a fraud. He is a criminal. The banks have their hooks in him. If you look at the stuff he used to say when he did this class at MIT, he seemed like he was favorable for a lot of stuff. Then what happened? Oh, money makes people change their minds. And so, I mean, guys, this guy has a $120 million fortune. This is not some poor government official here. He knows what he's doing, and he's got to be held accountable. And the SEC, outside of Gary Gensler, wants to hold him accountable. Senators want to hold him accountable. The public wants to hold him accountable. The news organizations want to hold him accountable. What are we waiting on? Let's do it. Let's hold this man accountable.
Ben, I know you got to go.
Straight up. I mean, I agree. And only time will tell. We're going to keep applying the pressure the best way we can. Obviously, we have a lot of different forces attacking from multiple angles. We'll see what happens. This is also from Ben Armstrong right here. It says, you guys remember when that clip of me pissed off and yelling went around the internet for 3 days straight? You know, the one where I tell you Sam Bankman-Fried is the devil and was trying to ruin crypto? Hits different now, doesn't it? And I said, absolutely it does. And I had made a video, obviously including that clip, and it went crazy because that was a very real, genuine clip of something that he was all over before anybody really was even remotely looking at the corruption and just the shady behaviors behind everything. And now look, I mean, he's been proven right. It's crazy. Going to transition some Ripple versus SC stuff. It says, what is that? Paradigm Operations file motion to file amicus brief opposing the SEC's characterization of the underlying crypto assets themselves as securities. XRP Crypto will sell. So technically, Paradigm FTX investors are supporting Ripple by opposing the SEC. And then we have this one right here. It says Cryptillion Payment Systems and online digital wallets service using XRP has filed its motion to file an amicus brief with the proposed brief supporting Ripple's opposition to the SEC's motion for summary judgment. So just more things in the work, you know, as day by day. I forgot what the deadline was. I don't remember what the exact date was, but obviously there's a lot more unraveling within litigation, and people are saying that Ripple is the last line of defense for, you know, the crypto space. You know, if they lose this to the SEC, I mean, imagine what ripple effect that's going to have on the entire industry, you know, no pun intended. So we definitely need Ripple to win this case for the health and sake and fairness within the crypto market, the crypto industry. Absolutely. And obviously, you know, Ben Armstrong and, you know, other actors like him are, you know, trying to fight the good fight from different angles. You know, he's talking about a bill, you know, holding people accountable, just like, you know, Charles Gasparino and Eleanor Terrace are in their main media. You have John Deaton in the class action lawsuit, Jason Foster and Empower Oversight. There's so many different things happening. You have a decentralized community coming together to, you know, constantly make content, sending out information, retweeting things, researching. There's so many moving parts. And at the end of the day, all we can do is pray and hope that our efforts are met with justice and fairness and a level playing field for the space. And that's really all I have to say. There's a lot of shady stuff happening within our industry, man. And I really hope that everybody out there is doing okay during these times. If you've been in the crypto market for anything longer than, I would say, like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, I mean, you know that this crazy stuff happens and it's not really anything new. But it doesn't change that. It doesn't hurt just as bad every time. I've been here since 2017, and it hurts the same every time to see your portfolio get decimated the way it does. I don't know what else I can really say behind that. Make sure you self-custody, protect yourself out there always. Make sure you come to the Crypto is Key Conversations YouTube channel, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Crypto is Key 1. And like I always say, and really take this to heart, stay strong out there and be safe.